Hi, my name is Kim and I'm currently on a 5-week road trip around Scotland. Here I spend my time walking along beautiful beaches, exploring old castle ruins, as well as just enjoying the beautiful countryside there is on offer. If you want to follow me on my adventures, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos. I'll see you out there. Good morning everyone, and I've gotten off to a much later start than I originally planned. I'm leaving Fort William behind today and I'm heading down to Glencoe, but just for one night. And my original plan was to drive down nice and early this morning and possibly head up the Pap of Glencoe. But you usually go up to the Pap for some great views. Now this morning, you can see up there definitely weren't too many views to be had up in the mountains. So I just decided have a lazy morning, drive down more casually, and I'm still going on a little hike today, but nothing that's going up high and nothing's that's gonna take too long. Probably just something for a couple of hours. And hopefully, you know, the sun should burn through some of these clouds and we should have a nice afternoon. But now it's time to set off and drive the 30 minutes down into Glencoe. And I've made it to Glencoe, which is an absolute beautiful place and which I just couldn't leave out from this road trip. Like I said, I'm only staying here for one night because the hostel has actually only open Friday, Saturday, Sunday night during the winter, and today's Sunday. So I didn't realise that. So otherwise, I might have come down yesterday already. Did a night less in Glen Nevis, an extra night here. But yeah, sometimes happens when you don't really plan ahead properly. But yeah, so just here for the one night, and I'll show you around properly in a minute. But it is drizzling right now. It should pass in a few minutes. I'll just wait it out. And I was driving past the Pap of Glencoe just a few minutes ago, and yeah, the whole kind of top third of it really is still in the clouds. So I'm quite happy I didn't get up super early today and raced up there, because yeah, I wouldn't have had any views. But yeah, this is with the weather, you never know, which is why it's important to stay flexible and, you know, don't worry about changing plans last minute. So I said, we're just gonna do something a little bit different today. If you know Glencoe, you might have already guessed where I'm headed today. But I have parked at the Three Sisters of Glencoe Viewpoint car park, which since last time I've been here has actually been expanded and made to look a lot nicer. It used to be just a, pretty sure last time I was here it was just a gravel area, but now it's tarmac and a lot bigger. But yeah, it's a very popular spot. So even on a day like today in the early season, there are a few spots, but it is quite busy in the car park. So yeah, in the summer you definitely want to get here early to snag a spot. Now I'm headed up to a place called the Lost Valley, which is up and behind there. And I have done this walk before. About a year and a half ago, I believe. It was one of my first walks I did after moving up here to Scotland, and it's a really beautiful one, but it is fairly short, so it doesn't take that long. If you just go up to the Lost Valley, you can go a lot further up and basically do the couple of Munros up there. But yeah, today we're just doing the short and sweet one. Now, something I want to mention straight away. and you'll see why later on. So this is it is a fairly short walk, and it's not super hard, but there are a few places where the rock is quite steep, and it does get slippery. And I have seen last time I was here, I saw so many people going up with Converse or Vans, and you know, just those very flat-soled trainers. And I mean, you know, it's your own responsibility, but I would not recommend it. You do want something with a bit of grip, because yeah, even though it is a short walk, I said there are some small but some trickier sections, definitely. So the first 5-ish minutes from the car park, you're on this very nice kind of wide, easy trail. But here we're now, you'll see up there, that's a set of stairs going down to the river, and kind of from that point, once we start heading back up the other side, the trail gets a lot rougher. So just be prepared for that. At this point, they even put cables up the side of the path to make it a little bit easier. But yeah, I do need my hands here. So yeah, like I said, even though I said this is an absolutely beautiful path, it is definitely not the easiest. So yeah, you also got to be careful if you're bringing smaller kids, because yeah, these type of rocks, as I said, they are just slippery when they're wet. So please be careful. So after that first kind of steep bit, the trail again, it does get a bit easier for a while. You're just mostly on this path through a little woodland. Now, a little tip I want to give everyone to make hiking maybe a little bit easier. Now, if you come across something like this, now it doesn't look too bad and it's completely fine, but a big step like this, it's hard to tell, but that's on someone smaller like me, that step is like above the knee, so it's quite a big step. Completely fine when you've got tall long legs, but a little bit harder when you're smaller. But often if you just look at something like this, and you might see there on the side is a way up with the steps being much smaller. So it's always good having a little look around, and you might manage to make your life just a little bit easier. And obviously it's going to save you energy as well, because yeah, that big step in the middle is a big step for little people. As you can see, this is a very nice maintained and laid path, and especially in places like this, it's important to stick to the path. Now, as I said, this is a very popular hike, and the path is here to basically make sure the rest of the hillside doesn't get eroded by too many feet basically walking over the top of it. That's why I said we've got these solid rocks here on the path, and just keeping all the hikers to this path here ensures that the hillside, you know, all the vegetation on it stays alive. What's exciting, however, so last time I was here, this section here was actually blocked off. So I think there was a landslide or something, but yeah, they had closed that section, and you had a new path there, just where you see those people kind of went up the hill, up above and behind, and further down it kind of joined this path again down to the river. But it seems like they've reopened this path here, so let's try, and it's new for me as well. Yeah, remember, a lot of work goes into these trails, and also a lot of, you know, people make sure they stay as safe as possible. So if you ever see a path blocked off, please respect that, and there's usually an alternative route provided, so make sure you use that. But now let's hop down here and keep going. But this path is absolutely beautiful. You know, the path over the top was nice, a lot more open, but here having this path right beside the river down there, it's definitely a little bit more atmospheric. But parts of the trail are very much quite narrow and right on the cliffside. So again, I'll keep saying this on this walk, just pay attention and take care. So yeah, just up there, you can see where the trail I had to take last time, so it joins back in here. But yeah, I'll see, we might take that trail on the way back. So from here, you just kind of gotta work your way through this boulder field. Just get a little bit higher up, because we need to cross the river. There's a path going up the other side, and the best crossing place is definitely up here. Oh yeah, this valley, it's just so beautiful to walk along it. But yeah, let's keep going, because we're actually not too far off from, you'll see it soon, from where the valley completely opens up. And when I say not that far, I mean it is not that far, but up there where you see the people is that's the best view of the hike. Big piece of rock is this one here, but you can see actually this looks much better than it did last time. So yeah, you can also what I did last time, because that ledge definitely was a lot less defined, you can also climb through there if you're small, or kind of do a scramble up there if you're feeling adventurous. But it definitely looks like up on the outside here is the easiest path now. But yeah, made it up there. It's always, we've just climbed up here. Also, as I said, a lot of people seem to go down here and then kind of do an S. But I always find it, obviously, it's a lot easier climbing up stuff than climbing down. So never find an issue on the way up. But it's often on the way down is where I'll question myself. nearly there. We're getting towards the top. Here we are. So this is as far as I'm going to go today, but for people that are doing the Three Sisters of Glencoe, this is often the route that they come up, because you basically just keep taking the trail down there, then it goes up, and you go out to this one first, then go along the ridge, and you kind of come down on the other side of that one. From what I've heard, really fun, great day out. I've not done it yet, but another thing that's on my list. And what's so interesting here, or at least I find what's really interesting, so you can see where the river comes down and the old riverbed, but as I say, it's all been filled in with rocks and everything that's come kind of down the side. So here on the plateau, the river is completely underground, and then of course it comes back out again, because that's the river that we've followed along on the way up. But yeah, it's you can see its old path, but yeah, it's been completely covered over, and yeah, it just left a nice flat area behind. And just to keep you informed, so it did take me pretty much exactly an hour to get up here. Now that's a moderate pace. As I said, I don't walk super fast, but I'm not super slow anymore. And I didn't really take any breaks on the way up, so pretty much an hour of moderate walking. Right, I have been up here for about 15 minutes, but it does not look like the sun's going to make an appearance today. And actually it has just started raining once again. So I'm definitely no rush, but I'm gonna start slowly heading back down again. So especially if it does keep raining, you've got to be careful on those rocks. But yeah, time to head back that direction and say goodbye to this beautiful view. Okay, made it back across to the other side of the river. And now, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to show you the alternative way on the alternative route on the way back. Just in case some people might find that one a bit easier, because I said the route here in the next to the river, some of the edges are quite exposed, which I know for a fact you don't have that when you go over the top. So if you're not a fan of walking along an edge, might be the upper route might be the better option. And here is our junction. So we came from down there, and now we're gonna head up this set of stairs and then walk along the top. And here we go. This is the view along the top. So yeah, the path up here is pretty much just as I remembered. It's nice. The lower one down by the river is definitely more scenic, but if you don't like, as I've said, if you don't like walking right along a sheer drop, the option up here might be the better one. I'd say no sheer drop. You are walking along the edge here as well, but it's for a much shorter section. It's kind of quite funny standing up here. So here the path As I said, all you can see basically is a sheer drop down, but looking from up here you would have absolutely no idea that there's actually another path down there, because yeah, it just looks like it goes straight down into the river. But yeah, it's had some good views from up here. So when you're walking up from the bottom, it's where this big boulder is here, where the two paths split. Now at this point, as I've just come down, is up that way. The upper path looks a lot harder, but it's only this very first section here, just to gain the bit of height, and after that you've seen it, it's quite flat along the top. But yeah, this is where you can go up or keep going straight if you want to go through the gorge. But yeah, just to give you some options. I've just been chilling on this nice rock here because I'm not quite ready to finish this walk yet, because I haven't got that far to go. You can see the car park down there, but rain has just come back, and it's just this really light rain, like more of a heavy drizzle, but it's still not nice to sit out in, so I'm gonna get going again. Alright, reached the bottom, back across the bridge, made it down that steep awkward section. Now up the stairs and an easy 5-minute walk back to the car. And finally it looks like the sun's pressing through a little bit. Like always, just when we're about finished, but there it is. And yeah, that's the route that we've just come down from. Alright, here we are, back in the car, and yeah, this walk took all of 2 hours and 15 minutes. So like I said, definitely not very long, but I would say absolutely worth it. On a beautiful day. I mean, last time I was probably out for about 4 hours, but I took a much longer break up at the top because the sun was out and it was beautiful. So, you know, have a nice day. You'll probably want to spend more time out there. But yeah, even today, as I said, this was awesome. And what's nice, the walk is short enough that even if you're basically just driving through, you know, this is something you could possibly stop off for. Or, you know, even if you only get part way up the valley, I think it's still worth it. But yeah, I'm gonna head up to the Glencoe ski resort because I want myself some cake. You might have, if you know my habits, you might have wondered, even though I've been walking last few days, I've not really talked about cake that much, and that's because I had a stash with me. So before I left the Isle of Mull, I made sure to stop by the cake box and bought a few different ones. I've bought the last one yesterday, so I've officially run out, which is why now I'll have to start looking for cake again at the end of my walk. But I know they do quite decent one at the Glencoe Resort, so that's just a couple more minutes up the road, and I'll talk to you when we get up there. Made it to the mountain resort, and there are quite a few paragliders in the air, which is really cool to see. We've got some more up that side, and yeah, looks like conditions are good for that today. That was a lovely bit of cake and a nice little break, just sitting in the cafe. But now it's time to drive back down the valley, and we're gonna head back towards Glencoe village. Now the drive, like the scenery through Glencoe, is quite iconic, And as I said earlier, unfortunately I've only got a little bit of time to show you some things here in Glencoe. So what I'm going to do for the drive back through is mount my GoPro back on my dash here, and so you can see what it looks like driving through the glen. Now, of course, the GoPro's just fixed, so unfortunately I won't be able to pan left and right to kind of show you the best views, but I feel like just out the front of the car, the view will still be pretty great. I hope you enjoyed that little drive through Glen Coe. And I'm just currently parked at the Signal Rock / An Torr car park, which is the car park where the visitor centre used to be. The visitor centre is now a little bit further down the road, but you've still got a nice car park here. And I was gonna just go on another short walk up to Signal Rock, but as you've seen on the drive, the weather is a bit changeable today. The drive started out quite rainy, then we went back in the sun. I parked up here and currently it's raining again, and not fairly heavily this time round. So I'm gonna give it a few minutes, see if it stops, but if not, I don't want to get out in the wet at this point of the day. So yeah, if the rain doesn't stop in a few minutes, I'll just head to the hostel and we'll check in for the day. But it's been quite a chill, easy day, which was nice. And yeah, the weather really couldn't decide what I was going to do today. So the sun has come back out, but I am certainly not trusting it to stay this way. So I'm gonna head out, but it's really just going to be quite a short walk through the woodlands here. Already a few minutes away from the car, and I've just remembered or just noticed I forgot to change my shoes. Now the trainers that I'm wearing, they're super comfortable. I like wearing them when I drive, but they are on their very last legs when it comes to walking. So they're really not, they've got zero profile anymore. The heel is starting to come apart, so yeah, they're really not made for walking, but we'll deal with it for this short little stroll. But yeah, I need to remember to change my shoes. Yep, sunshine, but it's raining again. Alright, here we are on top of An Torr. It's the little highest point of this little woodland area. Got some pretty good views. A lot is obviously covered by the trees, but actually if I go onto the other side of this tree, you'll have a good view down into Glencoe again. And yeah, as you might have seen, the sun is gone again. There are some darker clouds coming, so I think I'll rush back to the car and just complete this little loop. This is so funny, having a walk in these trainers. I don't think I ever really wore them for walks, even when I first got them. Kind of my trainers I was wearing at work, so just walking around the shop floor. But yeah, they are very lightweight, which actually feels nice on my feet. But when you're used to grippy, kind of solid shoes, walking along, coming down like a path like this, feels very weird in trainers with no grip, and where it feels like they're falling off your feet at any moment. But we live and we learn. But these are some really lovely woods to have a walk around in. Now, I'm definitely not taking the time to enjoy it that well, but yeah, it is lovely. I'm nearly at the end of this little walk, and it's been really nice. I think it's especially perfect, you know, if you're just driving past and you want somewhere to stretch your legs a little bit, or equally if you've got a dog with you that needs a little walk. I think this is a perfect little stopping place. And that's it for today. So I'm just heading across to the hostel, which is basically just on the other side of these woodlands. And then I'm gonna cook something because I'm getting hungry, have a shower, chill out, and finish the day probably by reading my book. But thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you for the next video. And I don't actually know yet where I'm going. So another thing I've got to figure out tonight. But yeah, see ya.